You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Back of the net.
You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Right, Chris.
Actually, no, I'm not all right. It's Halloween weekend, and I think Leicester City took that a bit too literally because we had what I can only describe as a horror 45 minutes yesterday. So this is what I've got planned, right? Torre, Rogers, you get those players on the pitch and you say that if they do not start playing in the first 20 minutes, you shoot them. Now, I don't know if you've watched Squid Game, but it worked kind of well in the fact that it got people playing properly. Maybe, just maybe, we should try it. I don't know. What do you think? Think it would? We can but try. We can but hope. But I think it works well. It would wake a couple of them up. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. This is where you can find us.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Do not try this at home. I should just say that. I obviously do not advocate the killing of football players. And, Melina, how the devil are you?
I'm good. I was laughing so hard backstage.
It hurt me nose that. It's not the most comfortable mask to wear. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you what, after that game yesterday, I just thought, what would be the best way to make sure that Leicester players start playing for the first 20 minutes? I reckon get a couple of them out on the sideline in the uniform and the mask.
That was class.
One of us is I've got to laugh about it. If I didn't laugh, I'd cry. But one of us is happy, and I'm sat here with a big plate of humble pie that I've just eaten. You're going to enjoy it today. I've taken the wee out of Arsenal all season, but the process seems to be working.
Yes, Chris. Well, first off, thank you for having me on your show today, and I enjoyed humbling you yesterday right after the game for your instant match reaction. Big up everyone in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, AP. And yeah, Chris, but to be honest with you, the first 35 minutes, we played really well, and had intensity and momentum. Really from minute one into the game, I was shocked because playing away from home to Leicester, I wasn't really as confident. Even though I predicted a 3-1, I never thought we would keep a clean sheet to Leicester. Considering Vardy always loves a jammy goal against us, as well as, Maddison finally getting his shooting boots back since February. Now I'm like, James Maddison, who?
yeah. Go on. I can't say anything. Just go for it. Just go for it.
But to be honest with you, you asked the question, and in your title, I believe you have it. Was it really a game of two halves? And the one thing I will say is, in the second half, we dropped intensity and momentum seriously, but we made up for it in the sense that our defense, that defensive back line was really solid. And I think Ramsdale kept us in the game, especially that Madison free kick. No one expected him to save that. Even James Madison didn't think that would be saved. Save of the season by far. And, 4 to 5 times, I believe overall 8 saves he made was his longest save record of the season in his entire Premier League career. Of course, against Leicester. But no, it was a good game overall. I just think in the first half, Leicester were asleep. And like you said, a game of Squid Games might have woke them up, because it really felt like from midfield to your defense, it was all asleep for the first 20 to 25 minutes. We were dominating and easily able to get through your midfield.
And I think the thing that gets me is that Rodgers has come out and said that he told his players to do the opposite of what they did. And, he was saying to his players, get out, get at them. The first 20 minutes, it's early kickoff, make sure you're awake. And they went out. And I think they say they still have the bloody nightcaps on. And, it was just like, what is going on? And, I mean, I find it, I say this about Leicester an awful lot. Would the real Leicester turn up? Because this is not the team that, the performance that we put in against Man United. I mean, you probably haven't heard about that because the TV and the news and all that only report how bad Man United were, not how good we were. But, we can do that against Man United. And then that first half performance, and it was a game of two halves. You dominated that first half. You didn't let us settle. In that first half, we couldn't pass the ball. It was totally what the hell is going on? In the second half, we just didn't let you get into it. But what you needed to do in the second half, you did, which was defend. You were 2-0 up. You didn't have to.
We had to keep that 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
We couldn't let you guys, catch up.
No.
The thing with Arsenal is what I was worried about, and what I've seen from previous games, especially the game, the Palace game, which we didn't deserve the point. I felt when we're 2-0 up, we always tend to sit back, park the brakes, and not capitalize on the lead. We tend to invite the pressure onto us. And I told you, the minute you guys made the substitutions, I think it was right before the halftime whistle.
Just after halftime.
You guys made the two subs. And I said, look, you guys are bringing now players that like to attack, and you'll try to get us on the counter attack and try to press more. And in that second half, you guys were pressing really, really well. But the one thing I will say is our defense was really solid and didn't let you guys build that momentum to get to that final third.
You did. I mean, I'm just looking here at the stats, and I know stats don't tell the whole game. I mean, Brad hates stats. I'm not going to lie. But if you look here, I mean, we had 16 shots to your 9. We had 2/3 possession. We had half as many again passes, a third again more touches. But as I said, and I said this to a Brentford fan the other day, it's the Premier League. If you don't take your chances, you are going to be punished. And you took your chances in the first half.
Yes.
We didn't take ours in the second half. The ball was just going wide or hitting the post, or your most relegated keeper in the football pyramid was making some fantastic saves. It was just... You could tell in the second half that it wasn't going to be our day. But it was a shame, because I think if we'd got one, because of Arsenal's sort of what's going on all at Arsenal at the moment, I think if we'd got one, we would have rattled you a little bit, and we might have gone on and got a point.
No, I agree, and I often thought the second half, I was kind of watching behind my couch because I thought in the second half, oh, we're going to sit back, invite pressure onto us, and end up conceding to Leicester away from home. When we built that momentum from minute 1 onwards, I really thought, all right, we're playing really well. When is it going to end? When is this spell going to end? Because I've always seen Arsenal, when we play really well, we tend to sit back and let Leicester get back into the game. And that's what we saw in that second half. Leicester really tried their best to get back into that game. After that halftime talk, possibly a halftime Squid Games, Leicester tried their best to get into the game. The one thing I will say is our defensive back line and players like Nuno Tavares had done really, really well and don't get enough credit when and where it's due. Yesterday's performance away from home to a team like Leicester that trashed Man United, I didn't expect us to dominate early on into the game and to get our heads involved in the game so early from 5 minutes onwards to get that goal. I think we done really well.
I do, and I think in fairness to Leicester, a lot of people were saying before the game, pundits and players, etc., was that this was the real test for Arsenal. Yes, you've gone 4 or 5 and whatever, 5, 6 unbeaten, but it's a team. We were on the same points. We were one above each other. This was going to be your real test, and in fairness, Arteta's come through it
for sure. And I think I myself took a humbling along with your humble pie. I might have had a piece of that too, because at the time we had signed Aaron Ramsdale because of his history with being relegated from almost every club he's been to. I really thought the price tag that we're paying for him and his record with former clubs like Bournemouth and Sheffield United, I really thought, oh my God, we're next. And at that time, we lost 3 games back to back, trashed from Manchester City away from home. I thought this is never going to end. We're really in rock bottom. When are we going to get results? The Premier League is a very tough competition to be in. One week you can be top of the table, and the next week you can be middle of the table. So we've seen it all. And Ramsdale has really proven me wrong, and I'm happy to be proven wrong about a signing than the Aaron Ramsdale signing. And he's starting to become a fan favorite to the fans, and rightfully so. I think he deserves that credit and that mention for the performance yesterday, but also the games that he's played and he's started. I think he's really shown that he wants that top spot in goal, in number 1 goalkeeper, and giving Leno that healthy competition is really good to see. And not just for Leno, the goalkeeper position, even in our left backs, there's competition there. Even in our midfield, creating that healthy competition is what we need to thrive and grow off of.
But do you think as well? I mean, we say about relegated players, and sometimes we've bought our fair share of relegated players. I mean, we bought Harry Maguire after he just got relegated and got 80 million for him. So it can work out. But a goalkeeper, sometimes you can be a really good goalkeeper, but if the defense in front of you isn't very good, you can only do so much as a goalie. You can only make so many wonder saves. You can't keep doing it all the time. And it's like at the moment, we haven't kept a clean sheet since game 1. And that's been not down to Casper necessarily. That's because, the front 4 in front of him, or the front 3 or the front 5, whichever way Brendan puts his team out, aren't regular. They're changing,
No, and especially with injuries too, Fofana being injured. I think that really kind of costed you guys, and back-to-back injuries, changing your formation. And the same thing with Arsenal. When we had the Granit Xhaka injury, I think Arteta now realized what formation works and what players to start week in and week out, who deserve that spot. But before, Arteta would change the entire system, the entire lineup when there was just one injury. Instead of playing a like-for-like player, he would play a whole different type of profile player, and that ended up costing us the game, along with the way these players played. And yesterday, they played for the badge, and they turned up. And I didn't expect that kind of performance from us. I was shocked.
Oh, yes. And I mean, looking at the team that Arteta put out yesterday for yourselves, I mean, when you saw that, when I saw ours, I was happy with our team. I mean, yeah, there was one change in there, but it was virtually the team that's been sort of playing and the formation for the last 3 or 4 games, which we've been winning. How do you feel? You know, I mean, it's a 4-4-1-1 there, but as good as a 4-4-2. You know, are you happy with that? Do you think that's the best team?
Chris, this lineup was the same lineup I predicted on Friday. And to be honest with you, it was the same lineup against Aston Villa, our victory against them. So I expected this lineup considering how well it worked together, how well that link-up play with Ben White and Gabriel worked in that defensive line. Gabriel has been spectacular and consistent along with Ben White. Ben White went off ill. He actually played while being sick until he told Arteta, I need to be subbed off. I don't feel good. He ended up having a bug, the same as Pablo Mari, non-COVID related, and was subbed off. So it was unsure whether he would start. Friday, we were told that Odegaard had traveled with the team, but it wasn't sure as well whether he would start. And that was the only doubt in the lineup. But I was confident we would play the same 11 that we played against Aston Villa. Obviously, if that's giving you results, why change the whole system?
Yes.
And now I'm starting to see that this manager is recognizing to play players in that right position and to play the right type of profile player in games that like to play high-intensity pressing football. You know what kind of team to put out. And I thought Leicester would do well on the counterattack.
Indeed. But, I mean, what got me is I felt a little bit nervous going into this game. I'm not going to lie. I think that was probably more down to all the banter I'd given to the Arsenal fans that it would come back and bite me on the arse. And my God, it came back and bit me on the arse. But, you know, we don't have... Oh, yeah, I mean, okay, we've recently had a very good record against you. I mean, you know, if you look at our recent meetings... It was, you know, we both won one last season. You did us 3-1. So, but before that, you know, you hadn't beaten us in 3. But overall, you've got the sort of Damocles over us. You know, we've played you 31 times now, and you know we've only managed 5 wins. And you know, even when we won the league, you did the double over us. So there's always you do get bogey teams sometimes, and. I think that, you know, recently when we beat you, you know, at the start of that was the first time we'd beaten you in numerous seasons. So I wasn't overly confident. But the funny thing was that the Arsenal fans weren't overconfident either. You know, when you're asking for predictions, a lot of them said, well, my heart is saying this, but I want Arsenal to win, but my head's saying it's going to be Leicester. I mean, the last time I probably came across as many negative predictions when we played Newcastle.
I predicted a 3-1. I didn't think we would keep a clean sheet considering Jamie Vardy. Although he wasn't fit, I knew when it's Arsenal, that guy's going to come playing with crutches if he needs to, and he'll get a jammy goal against us. And I felt like he got unlucky. I believe in that first half, he hit the post, and he actually missed the sitter. So I was shocked for that. And I agree with what Macy said. Peter Schmeichel actually said it was the best save, one of the best saves he's ever seen. So massive credits to him. And I'm still eating my humble pie over that signing.
Yes. It's going to happen. Leicester seems to be that team where, you know, you hear the commentators say, oh, player B, he's not scored for sort of like 2.5 years. Well, you know he's going to score against Leicester. You know? It's one of those. Anthony's can we put the match analysis up on the board? That's Brad's board. That's not mine. That's the BB, Brad's board. He loses me, I've got to be honest with you. All I think is when I've watched Brad's board is I'm really hungry for a plate of spaghetti. But I
want to ask you something, Chris. I wanted to ask you about the Evans challenge. Do you feel he should have been sent off? Because Laporte, however you pronounce his name, from Manchester City versus Palace, do you feel it was the same exact challenge and foul? Now, the way VAR works, we all know how that operates. Sometimes, of course, decisions don't work in our favor, and we're Arsenal Football Club for the love of God. But do you feel, rightfully so, that he should have been sent off, or should it have been a yellow?
If I'm honest with you, I haven't really seen the Manchester one to compare it to.
Okay.
So I can't compare that. In regards to that, I couldn't see, and you can probably tell me whether there was any covering defenders or not? Or, had he got past Evans, would he have been clear through on goal?
I think there was. I think he would have been clear through Angola, and I actually because I watched the Manchester City Palace game. The Laporte being sent off was the same exact type of challenge that was made. So when I viewed that back, I was like, oh, maybe this could have been 10 men down, which you guys were lucky to get away with. At the end of the day, we picked up the 3 points, so I shouldn't be complaining.
No, but it's a fair point. And I've got to be honest with you. I mean, had it been the other way round, right? Let's say that had been an Arsenal player. This is the way I usually judge things. Would I have been screaming for it if it had been the other way round? And if no, then probably not. Had that been the other way round, I would have certainly been questioning why it wasn't a red. In fairness. But it went to VAR, and we don't get a lot of VAR decisions go our way. But, it's... Yeah, if it had been given as a red, I would have had to say, yeah, okay, I get it. It wasn't. It was a yellow, so I'm kind of sat there going, phew. Because Evans is one we can miss. I mean, I think you've just seen... Anthony's comment there. Sometimes on Sundays like that, it's a 50-50 if it's a sending off, And I think, and I think obviously if it going to VAR, they must have had a look and seen if there was a defender that could have got back and made the challenge. Sometimes you look at these decisions and the rules of football baffle me. I mean, if you remember the Euro final. When I think it was Saka, wasn't it? It was pulled back.
Yes, he was pulled back with his shirt.
To me, that's dangerous play. That should have just been a straight red, but it was deemed to be. And so sometimes I think I don't understand football. I really don't. But
what's a dangerous tackle nowadays when things like that are ruled off?
Well, the problem is, I think the refs have been told to be a little more lenient.
Yes.
So there's this huge grey area now. Well, one person's idea of lenient isn't another. And, we've got... I still go back to the point I make with VAR is that you need to have ex-players doing VAR.
Yes, people who have played the game, know the system, and know what to do. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the other thing I will say is, what about the officiators having education or some kind of training program on that? Do you still feel that there will be inconsistency in that?
I don't, to be honest with you, because years and years ago, the referees in the Premier League or the First Division, as it was then, were not professional.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
There were guys who were butchers during the week or
like farmers and stuff. Yeah.
They then made them, or if you're from Canada, it's probably a serial killer. Private joke, guys. Again, I don't endorse serial killing at all. The only time I've been a serial killer was when I stood on a cornflake. Anyway, so they made them professional. They pay them a lot more money now. That is their job, but they're still making human error. Now, when it was human error, I kind of got it. It kind of did balance up over the season. Now, with VAR, there shouldn't be human error. There shouldn't be any error in there. And the thing is, I think it's not that VAR is bad. It's that VAR is... The rules don't fit VAR, and that's the problem. You can't have something like VAR. Like with tennis, if the ball's in, it's in. If it's out, it's out.
Yes.
It's simple, despite what John McEnroe used to say, if it was in, if it was out. With football, it's not as simple as that, and at what point, if the armpit or the elbow or the knee or whatever, we've benefited from it in the FA Cup final, we went against us at Brighton. But I just think, and I spoke to sort of the ex-player that I do the show with, Julian Watts, and he'd love to do it. He said, I'd love to be part of that as an ex-player. And you're not going to get your Wayne Rooney's.
Because they have a better understanding of the game. They do. So I understand completely.
The Brighton game, for example, and I think it was a goal was disallowed. But the Brighton player was pulling down the Leicester player. And that wasn't, and the ex-players, including Shearer and Wright, understood that. But you've got me talking about VAR, and I'll be here till 6 o'clock tonight.
No,
talking
it was a
about
valid
VAR.
point I wanted to ask because I didn't bring it up in my match reaction, and then I watched the Man City game after, and I thought, wait a minute, this seems like there's inconsistency here. But what Anthony said in the chat is true. Of course, decisions like that is a 50-50, so let's leave it at that.
Yes, yeah. Now I've got to ask you, because this has been the people say, why people have often said to me, like, why do you banter so much with Arsenal? And the funny thing is, it's funny that I tend to banter now with teams that I never used to banter with before. But our main banter rivals, which tend to be like Coventry, Nottingham Forest and Derby, aren't in the Premier League. So, you know, we can't banter with them. With Tottenham, it started when they came third in a 2-horse race and we beat them to the title. That's when that started. With Arsenal, I do feel it started in the summer with all the Maddison rumours and what have you. But and not every Arsenal fan, but you know my feelings towards a few of them. But you came on my show last night, and so did another couple of Arsenal fans. You're very honest, and you were sort of saying, and like I say, eating a bit of humble pie. But you've gone so far unbeaten. Is it 7 games?
7 games now out of the 9 fixtures since the Man City battering away.
You sat in 7th.
Yes.
But, you've won more than you've lost. You've got 17 points, the same as Man United.
Yes.
But these people still want Arteta out.
We're actually in 6th, Chris.
I see. Sorry, did I say 7th? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wishful thinking. You're in 6th. Sorry. How dare I drop Arsenal down a place? God, hang on. Naughty. There we go. Look, my friend will come. My friend will come in and kill me. But no. Yeah. So do you? And they still wanted Arteta out, and I don't get it. I get it when he started and things weren't going right, but he's been there a lot longer than most managers are given time for. And it can take time. I mean, how close was, Ferguson to being sacked? And look what he achieved. You can't be wanting Arteta out now, can you?
No, and I said this yesterday on your stream. I'm a type of fan. I try to be as balanced as possible in my viewpoints. Big up yourself. I try to be balanced as possible. When a manager gets things wrong, I give him criticism and I say, how can you improve for the next fixture onwards? Yes, we dropped points. Yes, we got slapped up by Man City. Our first 3 games were back-to-back defeats. And starting the season off, the first game of the Premier League season opener in August, we dealt with COVID and we dealt with a lot of injuries that were, other teams faced as well later on in the season. But I think now Arteta's really started to build a foundation with us and we're starting to see consistency from these players, a lot of ambition, a lot of drive, wanting to play for the badge and wanting to get us in a better state. Considering we're only playing 1 game a week because we're not in Europe. See, I can't relate to your Thursday Cup games. But the one thing I will say is that gives us time to prepare for games that like to play us on high line pressing football. And I think Arteta now is starting to realize what lineup works. What's my best 11 that I can put out? And rightfully so, I can say, if this manager keeps on giving me results and consistency, then I will back him and I will give him credit when and where it's due. But when things fall apart and when we take 1 step forward and 11 backwards, that's when I'm going to be like, let me give him some criticism on how to improve. But from the start, I felt like he wasn't the man for the job. However, he did end up winning us an FA Cup and the Community Shield. So it's not like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
the Community
situation.
Shield, it's the English Super Cup. I keep telling you this. The English Super Cup.
They renamed it to the Community Shield, right?
Yeah, they have. Yes, yeah.
So what I felt like it's not like an Ole situation where they bottled 4 semifinals, 1 final. The situation we were in at the start of the season was absolutely woeful. But to see us improve now and to get the results home and away from home, 7 games now unbeaten, if we're carrying this momentum and, intensity into the next 5 fixtures, home and away, we have Liverpool away soon, Newcastle at home, Man United away, Everton away, and Watford at home. Not in that order, obviously. But I think, I will give him the credit when where it's due. And I'm no longer starting to be a stickler for him. If he's giving me the results, giving me a best starting 11, I don't see a problem. And I don't see something to give him much criticism to him. I agree with this comment that Anthony made. I agree. Pepe, I think Pepe's biggest threat is his own 2 feet. He can't seem to get the ball through his feet without tumbling down. It's like watching a baby kangaroo, with all due respect. It's a 3rd season signing, 72 million for him. And it just seems like he's not really showing it, not really proving the price tag to begin with. But then again, price tags, just like the Aaron Ramsdale, can prove you wrong. So it works both ways.
I mean, I think at the start of the season, I was presuming the top 4 was pretty much sorted. It was in some order going to be Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United. When you look at the signings they'd made, Man United, I mean, yes, they came back yesterday. We know they beat Spurs. But I mean, Spurs, come on, they didn't even have a shot on target, Norwich could have probably given Spurs a run for the money yesterday. That's how bad they were. So, I think we're now looking at the fact that the top 3 in some form is decided, and that 4th, 5th, 6th sort of positions are sort of up for grabs. Now, in the last couple of seasons, you've probably had Leicester and one other team that's kind of come through.
I was just about to say that. I'm used to Leicester bottling top 5.
Yeah. Or doing really, really well and getting 5th place. You could look at it either way. I think we did rather well to get 5th place, but it's hard to break into that top 4. You've seen that for the last couple of seasons, and you've been up there for a long time. But last season it was us and West Ham. But when you look at it this season, you've got West Ham, you've got yourselves coming back on a bit of a run there. Man United are up and down like a bride's knickers on a wedding night. Brighton and Hove Albion, they keep surprising everybody. And I'm starting to sort of maybe think Potter is better than I'm giving him credit for. Everton, Leicester. You got 5 or 6 clubs there, possibly Tottenham, I don't know. But you've got 5 or 6 clubs there going after a couple of places. So I think it is going to be harder to get into those top positions. But what would you say you want from Arsenal by the end of the season, position wise, trophy wise, to say, yeah, come on, we're gonna give Arteta another year?
From the start of the season, my minimum expectations was, please get us back into Europe and not the European Conference League. Please, God, not that. That's unbearing to watch, and very boring football to watch. I wanted at least a top 4 spot and an FA Cup, but it seems like now that we've drawn Sunderland in the Carabao Cup and that Man City are out of the league, out of that competition, it seems like that may be ours. So I'll say now either an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, either or, and a top 4 spot.
You could never argue that Arsenal fans aren't confident.
I'm realistic.
In the quarter, so that trophy's ours.
But I will say, get us back into European football, a top 4 spot, and either an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup at my minimum expectation. And if you can exceed my expectations, get us back into Champions League nights under the lights. But that might be a big ask. Hopefully we carry this momentum, because this is where, December comes around soon. That's where we're really going to see where we stand in the table.
Nothing gets past you, does it?
No, for sure. You
knew December was coming up, didn't you? Even though you didn't know the clocks were going back in this country, but you do know that December is coming up.
I actually forgot the clocks went back an hour.
It didn't in Canada though, did it?
No, it didn't.
No, in fairness, I wouldn't expect you to remember, but I got a message off Melina like an hour before the show was due to start. Going, I'm ready. I think you're like, yes, a bit early here by an hour. We put the clocks back, but in fairness, you are in Canada, so you wouldn't know. So yeah, you're up in an FA Cup. What? You've seen Leicester now. You've seen how our season hasn't been going quite as well as the last couple of seasons. And there's, I'm not going to sit here and blame injuries because other clubs have injuries as well. So we know we're no different to other clubs. But what can you see Leicester achieving this season?
Because you guys have European football and a lot more games to play than us. Considering, again, we only play one game a week, I don't see you guys finishing in that top 5 spot. I think you guys will finish 6th at the end of the season. Now, in terms of a cup competition, what you would win, to be very honest with you, I don't see you guys achieving one under Brendan Rodgers this season.
I've got to be honest with you. I think the chances of us getting the Carabao Cup went down when we got Liverpool away.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Away from home to Liverpool with Mo Salah in full firing form. You guys got really unlucky with that draw. Good luck.
I think we're going to need it. But then again, be careful with Sunderland. Be careful what you wish for,
Yeah, I might come back here humbled.
This won't mean anything to you, but it will mean a lot to Leicester City fans. 2 words, Wickham Wanderers. So just be careful what you do wish for. So you're looking at Europe and possibly a cup. Any particular European competition? If he gets you into, let me ask you this first, because a lot of Arsenal fans were saying with Arteta, when he starts having a good run, it can so easily quickly change.
Yes.
But I think that's the fact with a lot of clubs. We've just won 3 on a trot, and we gave you the game. But is it a motivational problem, do you think, with the manager? Does he have there's always this talk about, they lose the dressing room, but he's slowly making it his team.
I don't think he's lost the dressing room, Chris. I don't think he did, because the players still wanted to play for him and the players were backing him. Now, of course, maybe I shouldn't say that because Pogba did come out and speak up against Oli. So maybe, yes, some players are very vocal about, not wanting to play for the manager. But I think now Arteta really has an understanding of his best 11, and the players really know what to expect on the field, what their duties are, and to do the job on and off the pitch. Now, you've asked me, has the manager really turned things around, or are we going to go on a drought? As you said yourself, a lot of teams, you can expect the same from them. Go on a winning streak and then bottle it. That's the thing with us, is we're too inconsistent. And now that we have this momentum and consistency, 7 games unbeaten in the last 9. After that Man City game, we really tried to turn things around. Getting hammered by Man City at the start of the season was not how no team wanted to start the season off. And, as you said yourself, injuries and COVID, we can't really blame, because other teams face the same issues as well. You can see Chelsea yesterday played without Mason Mount. Not even non-COVID related injuries are taking players out. And we can't really use that as an excuse. My expectations are we need to be consistent, and these players really need to turn up and put their best performances. If a player is not playing up to par with that expectations, you need to know when to drop them. Regardless of whether they're your favorites or not, you need to drop that player, because there's always someone willing to fight for the badge and put on a better performance, which is why I said healthy competition is necessary in a squad.
I'm just looking here. We're talking about the whole competition, the signings that you brought in. Obviously, your man of the match yesterday was Ramsdale. Yeah, 9.4 virtually out of 10. You couldn't ask for more than that. Followed by your 2 goal scorers. Ben White came in there in fourth with an 8.09. Now, I've heard a lot of criticism of him from Arsenal fans. £50 million. I know when Harry Maguire went to Man United for 80 million. He was an England player. It took him, it took him a while to settle in with the price tag that he had. How is Ben White? Are you happy with him now? Or I'm really happy with that signing. Although we played the high price tag, again, this comes with the English tax quota and the fact that they wanted more English players from the FA itself in this transfer window. So we couldn't do anything about that. Now, at the start of the season, people were comparing Ben White to a Champions League Varane. Obviously, they're two different caliber type of players, but Ben White has done well for us so far, and defensively, he's done really well for us. As I said, our season really relies on players like Thomas Partey, Gabriel in defense, and Ben White in defense not getting injured. Thomas Partey, unfortunately, is made out of glass, and when the African Cup of Nations happens, we're going to end up losing Partey, Aubameyang, and some of our other players, where players who don't really play for that first team will have to step up to that role. Yes. And I'm going to ask you one question, then I'll come to a break, and then we're going to come on to our joint friend, Mr. Madison. But before we go to the break, and you know it was coming, before I go to the break, if you don't get European football, if you finish in that 7th, 8th again, we don't know what will qualify for Europe this season, but or Cup, I still can't see Arteta going.
From what the board had said was we're giving Arteta until December on what will happen in terms of whether he stays or he goes. Now, as I said earlier, we're playing only one game a week. What's your excuse now for you to stay on the job? Now, the only thing is our board are the type of board to employ a yes man. And obviously, Arteta came into the job with no managerial experience whatsoever previously. Now, one thing I will say is if we don't get back into Europe or a cup, minimum top 4, I'm sorry, he will have to go for me. Although he's an ex-player of ours, he played more for Everton than for us, so he's not necessarily an Arsenal legend like Ollie is to Man United. I think they would have to do the boot, and if they're not going to do that, fans really need to voice their opinion in protest.
No, that's fine. That's I mean, it'll have been there at the end of this season. Is that like 2.5 seasons?
2.5 seasons, yes.
2.5 seasons. Emery, did you get rid of Emery too soon, do you think?
Very soon, and we didn't really give him enough time, and you can tell the Europa League, well, actually, not you can tell, Man United fans can tell what the Europa League is like. And Emery's game is the Europa League. He's won them back-to-back, and that's really his game. I really think him not having a language interpreter now, it seems like he chose that decision. The players didn't really respect him enough, some of the players. And I know Bielsa had a language interpreter, but that was his choice. And I think, I don't know, it really felt like we didn't give Emery enough time. And here's another thing. When you asked me about whether I'm Arteta in or Arteta out in different terms, if Arteta is not the man for the job, a lot of people don't understand that we will have to rebuild again. And this whole process of rebuilding is going to take longer and longer for us to start competing for actual trophies.
Yes, that's what I always say when you change. And I understand you change your managers. It happens. If you don't get success, you get relegated or they leave. And you've got to change your manager. But when you're doing it so often, every time a new manager comes in, he's not necessarily going to play the same system as the old players, the old manager did. There's a new system. He's not going to particularly like the players maybe that the old manager had. So he's going to want to bring it's every time you get a new manager in.
You have to change everything.
Yeah, ripping the paper up and starting again. But I'm going to go and ask you, about our friend James, but we'll just take a quick break first. Monday night, if you're doing nothing at 7:00 tomorrow night, this is what's going on.
Tie-Dye TV.
The three bears may have stole your bets, the three little pigs may have blown you away, but the three amigos will dazzle you.
They make the Three Stooges look like amateurs.
Maybe.
Indeed, Monday night, the three amigos, and no, I'm not going to get up and do the thrust, so don't worry. But 7 o'clock, ourselves, Leicester Till I Die, Beyond the 90, and Leicester Fan Channel getting together and looking back. And there's a lot to talk about in Leicester's October, so we'll be having a chat. Catch us, say, 7 o'clock on this channel tomorrow. Although I do feel like this channel's a bit of an Arsenal channel today. I think I've got more Arsenal fans in the chat than I have Leicester fans. Luca, welcome along, Luca. You always, what can I say? You're always so, I would say optimistic, but you're not. Basically, Arsenal will beat Watford and get smashed by Liverpool. I'll you know, what I'm saying, Luca, we all have our thoughts, but yeah, keep in there, mate. Keep in there. He agrees with you. Emery should have been given a chance. You got to love Luca. You got to love Luca. I'm sure he loves Arsenal deep down. Let's talk Maddison, because at the start of the season, well, before the start of the season, I got a bit annoyed, and as you know, it wasn't the fact that he was going; it was just the fact that not yourself, but a lot of Arsenal fans thought, well, it's Arsenal. Of course he's going to want to come to us. Why wouldn't he? And after yesterday's performance, he probably wished he had done. You didn't get him, obviously, and you got Odegaard instead. Right decision, do you think? Should you have gone? Should you have tried? Because when it came out, apparently there was no offer on the table from Arsenal for Maddison.
No, and to be very honest with you, and a lot of people probably in the chat know, I was the biggest hype for James Maddison to come to Arsenal. He hadn't scored a goal for Leicester since February, other than last game week, or an assist. And, you know, I really thought he's the type of player we need. He suits our profile. And, you know, he would be a great addition to our squad. But that extremely high price tag and the way Leicester got their money's worth for Harry Maguire, Ben Chilwell, getting rid of them, Leicester know how to do business and know how to get every dime and every dollar's worth of their players. Selling Harry Maguire to Man United for 80 million. I knew doing business with Leicester wasn't going to be an easy game. We put a couple of players on the table for you guys to pick, a player plus cash, but there was no official bid on the table for him. Instead, the board obviously went with Odegaard on a permanent. Odegaard's position at Real Madrid, he wasn't really sure what he wanted. Now, Odegaard has been a good player so far for us. I expect better from him, to be very honest with you. I'm not, you know, I do appreciate him, and I think he's done a lot for us in terms of creativity and pressing. His presses are really good, but it feels like in games that like to play high-line football, he doesn't really turn up as much as I need him to. Now I need to see a lot more from him in that sense. You know, he didn't start the game yesterday, obviously. So I can't give him much stick for that. And he didn't cost us a game. You know, I think I'm okay that James Maddison didn't come to us, considering, again, he didn't get a goal or an assist since last game week. But in that transfer window, at the end of the window, I really thought, what the heck? You know, we don't really have proper signings. Who the heck is Sambi Lokonga? Who the heck is Nuno Tavares? Players I haven't really heard of or watched to trust. And now Sambi Lokonga and Tavares have done well for us.
I mean, Luca says, Luca, this is Luca, Odegaard is rubbish. I just think sometimes we sign these players from abroad and they come in and we expect them to be instant successes. And don't get me wrong, some of them are. I mean, you know, look at Fofana. He was brought in. He was never going to want to be started first. You know, that was not the plan. He was going to go into the under 23s and get the experience. So Uncho, on the other hand, he was there for a year before Maguire left, so he'd got a year to get used to these things. But sometimes we put these foreign players in and say, you know, players that have played in foreign leagues and say, get on with it. And we're surprised when they don't sort of hit the ground running straight away.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't think sometimes we just don't give them a chance.
No, and the one thing I will say, in January, I really hope we go for a different center midfielder. And hopefully, in that summer window, the upcoming summer window for next season, I really hope we get a complete striker. I think we're really lacking that complete striker with the Aubameyang Lacazette situation. It feels like Aubameyang offers one and Lacazette offers the other, but a player like Dominic Calvert-Lewin is someone we should go after in terms of a complete striker. And in terms of you guys keeping James Maddison, obviously you told me, why would he want to leave Leicester, a team that won the FA Cup, to a team like Arsenal that was in really poor shape at the time. Now I said, okay, money talks. If we were giving the price tag, we're laughing now, but at the time, the way the confidence I had was, all right, Arsenal's going to do this to impress the fans, to get the fans being more supportive of the club and the board. But the high price tag that he wasn't it 80 million?
Yes. That was the rumor.
80 million,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that high price tag really put me off, but I thought, all right, if we can sell a player and add money on top, I thought, okay, why not? They might end up doing it. I thought it would be a deadline day signing, and there we go. But this is Arsenal Football Club, and we ended up getting Odegaard. He's done well up to par so far, but again, I need to see a lot more from him, as I haven't seen much. I've seen enough to give him credit when and where it's due, as I have. But it's the same thing you can even say for Leicester. Has James Maddison done much this season? Probably not.
No, which I was going to say was then is, are you going to come back in for him in January then?
I hope not.
Not now.
He can collect dust at Leicester and be the water boy.
I think sometimes the problem is with these players, like I'll go back to like the Glenn Hoddles, the Paul Gascoignes, what have you. They have amazing games sometimes, but they can't do it week in, week out, every single time. And Maddison was ill, and we he was injured. We see what happens when you bring a player back too soon. Maguire against Leicester, for example.
Yes.
You can tell. So Rodgers didn't bring him back straight away, and he eased him in for 20 minutes here, 40 minutes there, a half there. And the last few games, he's been given this role where he's been more of a free agent, so he can, he basically goes where he wants to go, and that's his strength. But of course, you can't always play that. And so, yes, he's not had his best season, but as a club, we're not having the best season. And let's be honest with you, if we were up in second, third, fourth, like we have been for the last couple of seasons, you might see another James Maddison, because if the whole squad is playing well and you're confident, but when the whole squad is playing bad, as bad as you were at those first three games, if you'd even got Dennis Bergkamp in, you'd have probably wouldn't have been any better, because you'd got 10 other players that weren't performing,
turning up. Yes.
And that's the thing. Just want to go back here because somebody mentioned, and I've lost it now. Let me just find it. Where are we here? Yeah, little Colo. Leicester City made obscure signings like Samari, Daka, Soyuncu, and Fofana. You see, this is the thing. Yes, they might be obscure, but they're players that we had been watching for a long time. Fofana, for example, we tried to get him in the previous window.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and we couldn't. To Soyuncu, we signed. We signed him with Benkovic. Now, Soyuncu, to say we didn't see him for that first season because we had Harry Maguire in such good form. And so he was given time to bed in to the English game, to the English mentality. And when Harry Maguire left, it was like we didn't miss him, Daka,
Brilliant signing. Absolutely
yes,
brilliant signing so far.
He is obscure, I suppose. I'd never heard of him, but, top scorer. And I know it's the Austrian league, but, whatever you say about Leicester, we don't often get it wrong.
But Chris, can you say that, or would you say that Daka adjusted to the Premier League well?
Well, I think if you look, the best game he had for us was in Europe.
Yes.
Against Moscow. And when you look at we're buying these players from the French, you got there, a couple from the French, the Austrian and the Turkish leagues. They're always going to play better in Europe at the start because that's what they used to. They used to play in European teams, and they do play a different style to us. Samari's come in. He's had some good games. He's had some okay games. Daka, the problem with Daka now is we expect him to score 3 or 4 every game, and we know he's not going to. But you do have to give players a chance to bed in, because if you don't, it's just, I think you can say, you can rush them in too soon. Fofana, like I say, he was thrown in at the deep end because of injuries, and he was amazing. He didn't sink, he went on
the injuries really got the best of him, and I feel really sorry for him because that injury was really hard to watch, a severe one as well. And I think he will be back until next season, right?
Well, they're talking about him coming back early in the new year. Because Man United want to buy him in January, allegedly. Surprise, surprise. But again, he's not, Rodgers doesn't rush them back. And, for Leicester, I think this is very much a sort of a reality check season.
For sure. And, you guys have European football, so it's really much of how much can you meet your expectations and where is the bar set? Yes. And how high can you reach that bar?
Yes. I mean, static again. We touched on this earlier. Win, lose, or draw, Arteta out. I see. I suppose the nearest thing we've had to this recently was when we had Claude Puel, and it was. I can understand it was his style of football, and we wanted him gone, but we never wanted the team to lose. That's the thing. And I'm not saying this static is saying this, but I have heard Arsenal fans saying the sooner Arsenal lose if it means Arteta goes, and that's just not right. Is it?
Why would you want your club to lose? I mean, yes. I don't know. My take on that is, I know Static didn't say that, but certain fans who say that, even people have said that about Man United before the Spurs game. They wanted Oli to lose every game until he was sacked, but those are points you can't pick up, so why would you can't get back, so why would you want your team to lose? Exactly.
Static makes a good point there, not only for Arsenal but for Leicester as well, because we're signing a lot of these players, and Sumari, I'm not sure which country it is, but Daka, for example, is from Zambia, so he's gonna, he has his bloodlines from Zambia. So we see these are the emerging players, and there's rumours whether the AFCON will go ahead or not, but I'm guessing it will. But we're going to lose half our squad, but that's the market. That's the pond we're all fishing in at the moment, isn't it, for players?
I think it might be postponed from what was mentioned last week. So I think it will still go on, but it will just be postponed. And the same for us and you guys. We will lose a lot of our key players.
Yes. Definitely. Well, look, Melina, thank you so much for coming on. I'd like to say it's been a pleasure, but it has.
No, it's been a really great show. It's always been good vibes here on Leicester Till I Die.
I would love having you on. You are a sensible Arsenal fan, and I know, no disrespect to Static, I'm not including you in this, but there are a few out there that maybe aren't. But where can people find you? There is a link in the description below on YouTube, but give a shout out to your channel.
First of all, thank you so much, Chris, for having me on. And more importantly, thanks for the 3 points in your own backyard.
Get that knife out my back. Get me friend in. I'll get me friend in.
But if you guys would like to check out my channel, I just do Arsenal tactical post-match reviews and FPL content when possible. And most of the time I feature on other FPL channels as well. But my channel is just called Miss Melina. And likewise, if you haven't already, check out Leicester Till I Die TV. They do really great content, and they even have ex-player Julian Watts on often when he's able to. So check out their content. Really good channel, and they do have a website as well. Give that a look as well.
Brilliant. And Anthony says you can find him anywhere in a pub with a pint. That is so well. What can I say, Anthony? I'm just not surprised, But I was hoping that this was going to be in nicer circumstances. But there we go. This is. I've supported Leicester long enough to know that when it's going good, make the most of it, because it will soon go bad and treat you in the fur. But well done for yesterday. I've got to say, in fairness to Arsenal, overall, I mean, you were there. You were at the starting line a lot quicker than we were. The first half, you didn't let us play, and the second half, you did what you had to do, which was defend. And, you were throwing bodies in there, and that's what you needed to do. So it's sticking in my throat, this, but well done.
No, thank you so much, Chris, and I appreciate that. You guys got the humbling. Now you have to play Leeds next. I think that will be an easy game for you guys. But then again, this is Leicester.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Then again, this is Leicester. And as you said, you don't know which Leicester will turn up. So hopefully the better one turns up.
Yeah. Leeds are, I think Leeds are playing now, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I don't know how they are.
It's still 0-0.
Is it 0-0? Brilliant. But Melina, it's always great to have you on. You're a great friend of the channel. Thank you so much. Go check Melina's channel out, especially if you're into fantasy football. And I used to joke that was Arsenal, not the fantasy league. But I can't say that now, can I? But half my material's gone. Take care, Melina. Enjoy those roundabouts. Yeah, enjoy those roundabouts, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care.
Adios. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks so much to Melina for coming on. She's great. She's a big friend of the channel. And as an Arsenal fan, yeah, it's always great to have her on. She's Canadian. And you've got to love the Canadians, haven't you? They're our brothers from another mother, as they say. Not the Americans. Don't like the Americans. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Brookline, just in case you're watching. So, guys, 7:00 tomorrow night, we are back with, like I say, the monthly review show. Myself, Beyond the 90, and Ant's Leicester fan channel, and we'll be looking back at Leicester City in October. And then on Tuesday, we've got the review show with Craig for the Moscow game, Moscow Part 2, and I must go and watch that. See what I did there? Moscow and watch that. And moving on. And then, of course, 9:00 on Tuesday, X on the pitch. And we hope to have another famous Leicester fan supplying us with the score predictions for Wednesday's show at 7. Take care, stay safe, try and enjoy the rest of the weekend, guys. I know it's not. I know it's, when we lose, it's not good, is it? But at least Tottenham lost. Every cloud. Good night. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
That's all, folks.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.